What is it about the very young that so easily brings a smile to our face? Why should we find babies who are not our own so appealing? Some would say that cute is in the eye of the beholder, that some little faces only a mother could love. But in fact, it seems we're hardwired to find certain little ones adorable, even if they're not our own kind. And we can't help but root for them as they make their way in the world. These are the stories of young creatures all across the animal kingdom. It is a celebration of their journey into adulthood through a world full of adventure, discovery, and triumph. In a rural corner of Virginia, a rooster's call brings a farm to life. On this sleepy day, the farm's newest inhabitants are slow to greet the morning. But every new day promises a series of fresh adventures full of endless possibilities. Just days old, a newborn calf seizes the opportunity to reaffirm its bond with its mother. Tucked away in the safety of a barn, a litter of kittens hone their predatory skills. In the corner of her pen, a mother hog sings a lullaby to her nursing young. Nine little piglets, 4 weeks old, are raised on the sounds of their mother's voice. Nursing is an energetic event, with each piglet usually laying claim to a single nipple. In the safety of their pen, these piglets will be sheltered and protected. But life is a lot more tenuous for those babies born in the wild. There are many ways of coming into the world, and each baby's entrance is both unique and extraordinary. Some babies start life without the help of a parent. Tiny and independent, they arrive with the instinct they need to survive on their own. A hatchling turtle will never know its mother, and within minutes of birth, it is prepared to embark on a lifetime journey. But starting out as an egg doesn't always mean going it alone. For up to 40 days, this penguin father shares brooding duties with Mom. He'll sit for weeks at a time, enduring hunger and cold for his chick's survival. But no animal invests as much in the care of its young as the mammal. This giant panda will hold her newborn for 25 days, going without food or water. Her cub will rely on its mother through the 3rd year of its life. Other mammals are born larger and more developed. And in the case of this buffalo calf, it's a good thing. He'll have to keep up with the herd within hours of birth. For mammals, the process of birth is notoriously difficult. But nature takes no chances. The act of delivery triggers a boost of hormones that puts her in the mood for motherhood. There's a visual bond, too, a pattern found in youngsters of many species that evokes a nurturing response. Big heads, big eyes, little noses. The visual stamp we call cute is etched in our genes. There's chemistry at work as well. A youngster's unique scent will make a powerful imprint on mother's memory. And nursing cements this all-important bond. On a crowded beach, an instant bond between mother and child can mean the difference between life and death. At the height of the birthing season, thousands of Cape fur seals are born here. Here, danger often arrives on the heels of birth. Nearly 1/3 of each new generation will die in the first months of life. But thanks to a zealously protective mother, this one looks like it just might make it. A little pup can easily be lost in such a large crowd, so its mother wastes no time in getting to know her newborn. She memorizes his unique smell and distinct bark. The pup soon gets to work at what he knows best, making the most of their short time together. Every moment this mother spends on land, she will go without food, making sure that her pup has a steady supply of her rich milk. Youngster's gain has been his mom's loss. When she can bear her hunger no longer, she will leave for the open seas to feed. If she stays, both she and her little one will die of hunger. So though she has spent less than a week with her newborn, she heads into the surf. Her pup tries to follow. But a fur seal pup this young cannot swim. A crowded beach is not a safe haven for a lonesome pup. Instinctively, he seeks out the company of others his own size, for there is safety in numbers, and companionship to help pass the time till mom returns. There are places in the world where a mother needs to stick by her young for years. In the freezing temperature of the northern latitudes, a female polar bear emerges from her winter's den. She has spent 5 months buried beneath the snowy slopes without eating. By now, she has lost nearly half of her body weight. Famished from her long fast, she hesitates, testing the air for trouble, and soon reveals the reason for her caution. Born 3 months ago, a tiny polar bear cub takes his first peek at the world around him. His twin not far behind. In spite of her hunger, the family will remain at the den for several days. Her cubs are still too young to venture far. They're curious about everything. Even a snowball offers up a unique first experience. The more precocious brother knows exactly what to do with this frozen delicacy. In one fell swoop, Mother pulls them back into the safety of the den. Their world is a dangerous place. Hungry males are on the prowl. They have been known to kill cubs, and mother polar bears have died defending their young. Half of the cubs born here die in their first year, but these little ones don't yet know the perils beyond their den. For the first few days, the cubs will explore their immediate surrounding. Mom grows impatient to hunt, but her cubs are still too weak to keep up. First, they must develop their snow legs. A daunting task on the tricky ice. Their mother can no longer ignore her hunger, and soon the family heads out in search of food. They will seek out their fate on the open ice. Their story has just begun. Other babies also begin their lives as buried treasures, but they will have to do without a fierce half-ton of a mother guardian. Far to the south lie the warmer shores of a Florida beach. Here, 2 months ago, a mother ended a 10-year pilgrimage to the beach of her own birth. She left something precious behind, a clutch of tiny loggerhead turtles. Buried 2 feet deep, the whole group has scrabbled madly for 3 days to claw their way out. They are greeted with a blinding layer of sand, but this is no deterrent. Once above ground, their instinct tells them to head for the water. Like tiny bumper cars in a race, over 100 brothers and sisters prod and bump each other onward, each turtle swept up in the surging rush towards the sea. They will eventually take their place among the ocean's great giants, weighing nearly 400 pounds. Though for now, their 2-inch long bodies make the distance to the water a marathon. Not to be left behind, the last loggerhead races to meet the surf. She and her siblings have already parted ways, for it is the fate of the sea turtle to travel alone. Once at sea, her voyage has only just begun. She points towards the safety of the deep and will not rest until she reaches the distant, if lonely, haven of the Gulf Stream. Few infants' journeys could be less lonely than that of the African elephant. On this day, a long-awaited occasion is celebrated on the savannah. After 22 months in her mother's womb, a calf is born into the herd. She will spend the first 2 years of life close to her mother's side. Yet this baby will also be raised by an extended family of aunts, cousins, and sisters. Her first shaky steps are quickly reassured by the entire herd. She is touched by every member of her new family. As a female, this calf can look forward to a lifetime of protection amongst these gentle giants. Like humans, elephant calves spend their long childhood learning the ways of their kind. Young males playfully test their strength with each other in preparation for the day they become adults and leave the herd to make it on their own. In the midst of such a caring and vigilant herd, there is plenty of room for play. Reptiles are not known for their nurturing ways, of course, but sometimes the most cold-blooded of mothers can surprise us. In the murky bank of a Florida swamp, another newcomer is about to enter the world. Having spent 60 days in the safety of an eggshell, the alligator hatchling digs its way out and takes a first look at its new surroundings. It appears she is about to receive a not-so-warm welcome. But these are the jaws of life, not death. It seems even the most feared of predators can have a soft spot for her young. Between her razor-sharp teeth, she gently ferries her babies to the shore, one by one, depositing them in their new home. Life in the gator hole is risky for all young gators, but Mom will keep a watchful eye over them for a whole year, never straying too far. Infancy, after all, is a perilous time. Yet, oddly enough, a baby's helplessness might be its most valuable asset. Some creatures are born into the world clinging on for dear life. They will eventually learn to let go of their parents. But for now, their tight grasp has an overpowering influence over their mothers. Their total dependency and vulnerability work to evoke the most basic nurturing instinct. But it's not just their mothers who are charmed. The set of physical proportions and facial features we call cute cuts across the species barrier to tug at human hearts. Even creatures quite unlike us have that unmistakable appeal. But for all the oohing and eyeing, cuteness is actually a deadly serious business. It's no coincidence that the cutest young are often the ones most dependent on parental care. Evolution has been perfecting infants for millions of years for the sole purpose of making Mom go that extra mile to keep baby alive. A mother might find her infant irresistible now, but looks alone won't get you through life. Survival means mastering the ways of the world and the rules of your kind. After all, Mother will not always be around. But following in her steps, a youngster will begin to learn the most amazing things. Whether in the wild, in a barn, or in a house, being a mother means being a role model. The 9 little piglets born far from the wild have much to learn from their mother hog. Here in the shelter of their pen, they are safe from predators. Humans take care of all their needs. Nevertheless, a piglet is just as curious as its wild cousins are. Understandably, babies seem to think their moms are impressive. Everything she does is worthy of imitating. Following her lead, they soon discover their snouts have a purpose. An exceptional sense of smell helps a piglet uncover buried delicacies. But this little one is too young to actually eat what she might find. For now, chewing is just a game and a fun way of discovering what pigs are supposed to eat. But life on a farm is a far cry from growing up in the wild, where there is more at stake. The polar bear twins are now a year older, each weighing 200 pounds. Still nursing, their mother must kill every few days to keep them fed. But soon they will have to feed themselves, and she must show them how. Her keen sense of smell has picked up a bearded seal pup under the ice. With the highly evolved stealth and cunning of a great hunter, she silently closes in on her victim. Cubs are a little too eager and are not as light on their feet. Sabotaging a mother bear's hunt is not the best way to make it through adolescence, but imitating her hunting technique may be. What appears to be sheer frolic is a serious lesson in ice hunting. The young cubs might think it's just a game, but they are actually practicing what every polar bear adult knows. There are good things to eat under the ice. From the Arctic to the African tropics, mothers' dietary lessons are the key to survival. Here, the chimpanzee has perfected the art of tool use, using hammers to crack hard-shelled nuts. Nut cracking is the job of grown-ups, a skill that can take 10 years to perfect. Babies might be great at imitating, but this one is a little too young to handle the job. With her infant by her side, a mother just might succeed in encouraging her youngster to pay close attention. One determined young chimp has taken up the challenge with great enthusiasm. But tool use is a tough nut to crack. Her whimpers of frustration alert Mom, who steps in to demonstrate how it works. She succeeds at last, her efforts richly rewarded. While our closest relatives in the animal kingdom might remind us of ourselves, tool use is just the beginning. Like humans, a chimpanzee mother's ties to her young are unusually strong and long-lasting. In chimp society, each mother practices her own unique style of parenting. This first-time mom keeps her newborn pressed close to her side. She will gently cuddle and comfort her little one, instantly responding to even the tiniest whimper. Extremely protective, she is cautious about allowing others near her baby. But the new addition to the family quickly becomes the center of attention. Especially for older siblings that can't keep their hands off the little one. A more experienced mom is a little more comfortable with the responsibilities of motherhood. Left to his own devices, her baby is free to explore the world around him. Here, amongst such mothers, infancy is a relatively carefree time for chimps. And yet, with so much care invested in their children, creatures like chimps risk devastating loss. On this day, a young chimpanzee is dying in the forest. Its mother seeks refuge for the two of them in a tree. Her baby is too weak to cling on to her, and she must carry it the only way she can. Her bond with her infant is deep, and she refuses to let it go. Finally, with a gesture so like that of our own species, she gently bids her baby a last farewell. We cannot know how animals feel about one another, or what might be going through the mind of a chimpanzee. And yet, at times, their behavior invites us to draw our own conclusions. Such dedicated mothers may not guarantee a long life for all youngsters, but they do make childhood a relatively carefree time for most. Baby chimps are fortunate to have intelligent, powerful, devoted mothers. But in the wild, devotion comes in all shapes and sizes. Some mothers are called upon to stand up to the most terrifying of predators, to defend their young. A newly hatched brood of eider ducklings is closely guarded by their mom. Cleverly concealed in a warm nest of her down, these youngsters are too young to fly and are at their most vulnerable. For this starving polar bear, even the tiniest morsel is worth the effort of catching it. She stands by her brood. Her ducklings' feathers are barely dry, and if they take to the sea, they could drown. But she knows she is no match for a polar bear. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. An Arctic tern sits tight on her nest. Her chicks are still not airworthy, but their tiny mother is not too comfortable on the ground. In the face of the enemy, she takes flight, becoming part of a graceful and intimidating force. Once airborne, they mount a vigorous assault, striking the bear where it is most vulnerable. This time, the bear will have to stay hungry. Today, the young hatchlings have been spared a grim fate. But soon, the day will come when their mother will no longer need to protect them. The young terns will rise on their wings and follow their family to sea. The age-old instinct to protect their genes will make moms do almost anything. Here on a California rookery, another pup awaits his mother's return. Like his seal cousin, a sea lion pup must fend for himself on land while its mother feeds offshore. For a helpless youngster, trouble always seems to linger close by. Unfortunately, this one has attracted some unwanted attention. Only Mom's speedy return can save the day. His only weapon is his cry for help. Back from her fishing trip, Mother calls out for her baby. But instead of hearing his reply, she is greeted by the loud din on the noisy rookery. She strains to hear his distinct bark, a sound imprinted on her at the moment of birth. Not a moment too soon, she hears his call. The gull is foiled, and her youngster is rescued. It will be nearly a year before this pup can survive on its own. In the meantime, the little family wastes no time in reaffirming its ties to one another. As babies grow more independent of their mothers, they must rely on their own instinct to get by. In a forest of central China, a young panda is beginning to explore the world around her. Pandas are by nature solitary creatures, although this toddler still relies on its mother. Mom doesn't stray far. She keeps busy feeding around the clock and will consume 80 pounds of bamboo today. Like any toddler, the cub is curious about everything. And left to her own devices, she is all too eager to sample the world through her mouth. With mother so distracted by her hunger, the cub slips away to play by herself. Trees quickly become a great source of entertainment. Instinct tells her they are also important for safety. But in order to hide in a tree, she must first learn to climb it. Mother seems unconcerned about her adventurous but well-padded youngster. She will eventually master daring feats of acrobatics. Although for now, her performance seems a little unsteady. In another part of the world, other rambunctious youngsters are also fine-tuning their tree climbing skills. Black bear cubs face a tenuous survival in the wild. Especially vulnerable to adult male bears, their best chance of escaping is the safe haven of a tree. And a crash course in climbing just might be the answer. Instinct soon takes over when one youngster thinks she's found a perfect spot for a winter's den. A nosy sister soon follows her act. Sibling rivalry is by no means confined to human children. Investigating every nook and cranny, no hollow must be left unexplored. For some youngsters, the most valuable lesson is learning to get along with one another. Baboons spend their entire lives in troops. Out of necessity, they learn the rules of their society pretty quickly. The very young enjoy a privileged position. As babies, they are exempt from the rules, at least for the time being. Their older siblings, however, have no excuses. When growing up in a hierarchy, social graces are quickly learned and practiced. Young ones navigate through the strict rules of society by communicating a sign of respect to adults. They present themselves in a show of submission, even when just passing through. Applying baboon etiquette to other species can sometimes be a little confusing. Not certain of the social status of a turtle, this young baboon is not taking any chances. Apparently, some species are born with absolutely no social graces. A baby's curiosity about foreign species is bound to make life a little more interesting. A busy intersection of an African waterhole provides an endless source of entertainment for all. Wide open to new experiences, a youngster's journey through life is full of strange encounters and untold possibilities. When novelty fails to present itself, the young create it for themselves by getting into all sorts of mischief. These pups may think they are onto something, though what they do not know is that coyotes generally don't hunt badgers. An extraordinary fighting machine, a badger is clever and crafty. Undaunted, the pups make a comeback, practicing the oldest coyote trick in the book, teamwork. The lucky badger gets away, leaving the pups howling. Some youngsters are born ruffians, ready to mug another species at the drop of a hat. With a nose for trouble and an empty stomach, a black bear yearling and her sister investigate a hornet's nest, with predictable results. Nosiness can sometimes land one in trouble, as these unfortunate cubs have just learned the hard way. But her nagging hunger won't let her give up. A fearless attack, though somewhat shaky technique, seems to do the trick. Another skill has been mastered, and the sisters are soon rewarded with a tasty pile of hornet's grubs. Whether you're a cub or a calf, the impulse to play comes naturally. Sometimes play seems to be an end unto itself, with no apparent purpose but to keep oneself entertained. At other times, play looks like a simple celebration, to be shared with others your own size. And yet, these random acts of silliness are not without their purpose. These juvenile males are just play fighting, but today's play may be the basis for tomorrow's new world order. Play is also a way of developing motor skills, building endurance, and learning to flee from danger. Here on the farm, a game of King of the Mountain is all good fun. But in the play of these rambunctious little goats lies their ancestors' nimble ways of escaping predators. While the young prey sharpen their escape skills, the terrifying predators of the barn are honing the art of the stalk and the attack. Locked in a deadly duel, kitties soon discover the art of finding the perfect vantage point and the benefits of surprise. Infants belong to that very special place in life, a place full of strange and wonderful experiences, a place called childhood, where every twist and turn in the road will shape a young creature's life. For some, it is a world warmed by the nurturing attentions of a parent. Where life is greeted with the most reassuring of gestures. It is full of scary encounters and unexpected tenderness. It is a solo voyage, piloted by instinct and patterned by circumstance. But for all, it is a feast of first encounters and new discoveries. Where ordinary events are experienced through fresh, young eyes. It is a time when lessons are mastered and learning is rewarded. A place where the joy of youth is shared with creatures of your own kind. And sometimes in the company of an entire family. And whether growing up takes a period of days or years, eventually a youngster will have the urge to leave the protection of its nest, den, or herd, to start life on its own. And in time, they too will have their own young.